This episode may contain content that could be distressing or objectionable to certain listeners. Please refer to the episode show notes for details. Discretion is advised. Hello, listeners. Welcome to Your Movie, My Movie with Dan and Steve.
I am Dan.
And I'm Steve. This is a podcast where one of us picks a movie to watch and we discuss it together. In this episode, we're talking about one of my picks, the 1981 movie Mommie, Dearest, starring Faye Dunaway, Steve Forrest, Mara Hobel, and Diana Scarwood. Was written by Frank Yablans, Frank Perry, Tracy Hotchner, and Robert Getchell. Is based on the book Mommie, Dearest, written by Joan Crawford, and was directed by Frank Perry. We will be talking about spoilers, so if you want to watch the movie first, now's the time to do so. But before we talk about the movie, Dan, who would you recommend this movie to?
Thanks for asking, Steve. I would recommend this movie to any parent out there who needs a playbook on exactly what to do if you hate your child. If your child is just so annoying and they're just such a little piece of shit and you just want to get under their skin in all the right ways, watch this film.
Okay, so you're on Team Joan on this, huh?
No, that's just who I recommend the film for, you know?
Okay.
I'm not a team player, so I'm not on any teams necessarily.
That's fair. Yeah. You're like a lone wolf, a Sigma male.
I'm actually on Team Christopher.
Well, this is Xander Berkeley, who plays the adult Christopher Crawford. This was Xander Berkeley's film debut.
Oh, wow. Huh.
Yeah. And he will go on to play the dad in Terminator 2.
I see.
And many other great roles. He's a great character actor.
Who would you recommend this movie for?
I would recommend this movie for those who do not find the Christmas dinner episode of season 2 of The Bear to be nearly traumatic enough.
Okay. Well, I haven't seen The Bear, but
okay.
You know, I like my fair share of trauma in movies.
Okay. Well, does Mommie Dearest have, is it over or under or the right amount of trauma for you as an audience member?
I'd say just the right amount.
Just the right amount?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like not quite Beau is Afraid level trauma, but it's like close.
Okay. Oh, what's the movie?
Beau is Afraid.
Okay, I've never heard of that movie.
Oh, it's the Ari Aster film with Joaquin Phoenix. It's 3 hours long, and it was from like 2 years ago or something like that.
Okay, so there are reasons why I've never heard of it nor have seen it.
Well, it has Nathan Lane in it, so you would like that part of it.
Okay, yeah, I do like my Nathan Lane. He was in the Birdcage.
Mouse Hunt.
I have not seen that.
Oh my God, I might have to. That might be my next pick.
Okay. Is that your Christmas movie pick?
No, but it might be my Thanksgiving pick. Is that okay?
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah, that's great. Yeah, absolutely.
Holy shit,
Yeah.
that's such a good idea. Okay, yeah. All right, that's my next pick.
Okay, yeah, that's what we'll watch then. Mouse Hunt?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
It's a comedy though, but it'll be okay.
That's fine. That's fine. You know.
But anyways, what was I gonna say? I was gonna say, shit. Oh yeah, Beau is Afraid. I'll have that in my back pocket just in case I need to get back at you for anything. And that'll be my get back at you pick.
Well, I have a few in my back pocket. Maybe one day for fun, we'll just pull those out. Like, even if we haven't done anything, we'll just say, hey, for this month, we're gonna pull our weapons out. We're gonna show the hand that we have. We're gonna show our
punishment
cards.
month.
Yeah. We'll punish our listeners.
What is it? Sadistic month, sadomasochistic month, whatever.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
Steven, let's do the 2-minute summary, shall we?
Yes, we shall.
All right. Actually, can you do the timer this time, because it's more fun when you're like,
absolutely.
You only have like 30 seconds left, Daniel.
you like it when I do the countdown?
Yeah.
Okay, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. On go. 3, 2, 1, go.
All right. So Joan Crawford, famous Hollywood actor of a certain era, I think like the 30s or 40s or 50s or something like that. Anyways, she's a person. This is a biopic of her life and her daughter's life. She decides that she wants a child. So she decides that she's going to adopt, but nobody wants to give her a baby from the adoption things because she's been divorced twice and she lives by herself and she's busy with her career. So the lawyer that she's fucking at the time, the lawyer/agent, he pulls some strings and gets her a baby. So she's happy. She's raising the baby. Also, she has mommy issues of her own. Joan Crawford does. But she's raising the baby and she's basically in competition with her daughter, as well as just abusing her physically and mentally. And basically the whole movie is just a chronicle of all the abuse and their strained relationship as the child, Christina, grows up into an adult, and as Joan Crawford gets older and older and older and dies eventually. And yeah, that's the movie. There's some crazy scenes
30 seconds left
with wire coat hangers and some crazy acting by Faye Dunaway. But the essentials are there.
15
Joan Crawford
seconds.
is basically a piece of shit to everyone.
10. 5.
Yeah. That was my most. Okay. That was my most vague plot summary.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong in any of that. And yet it does not do the movie justice.
No, not really.
No.
It's kind of hard to describe, actually.
Yeah.
Okay, I have things to say and things to talk about. But I first want to know why you picked this film.
Well, thank you for asking me, Daniel. So the reason why I picked this movie is because most of the commentary and criticism about this movie concerns or comes at the movie from two different angles.
Mm-hmm.
The first is its accuracy as a biography of Joan Crawford. And the second is its status as an icon of camp, especially in the queer community.
Mm-hmm.
But the reason why I wanted to talk about it is how it seems, to me at least, how it's a depiction of a person possessed of severe mental health issues that have gone undiagnosed and worse, untreated, and how that affects their family.
Interesting.
Yes, which I think might be relevant for some or more of our listeners on this Thanksgiving month.
What are you trying to say, Steve? I'm medicated now. All right.
Okay, well, I'm glad somebody is. I'm glad one of us is. So
okay. Yeah, those are good reasons to pick this film. I was wondering if you were aware of its status as a camp symbol or icon.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, even if you don't know it going into this movie, just watching it, you can tell that it's, camp or at least seen as camp. And I believe either the YouTube channels, either Broy Deschanel and Be Kind Rewind have done YouTube video essays about this movie and its relation to camp, or like its relation to how it got made, and the effect of the movie on Faye Dunaway. Because this movie, it was like, when it came out, like, it was a huge black mark on her career. Because like, she thought that what she was doing is like, an honest depiction of Joan Crawford according to the book. But then, the thing is like, she just overacts in every scene she is, in every scene that she's in. But like, that's not her fault. It's the director's fault for not modulating her performance. And so, yeah, there's that aspect of this movie as well, like, its effect, on Faye Dunaway. But yeah, I did know, I knew a little bit about this movie before I watched it. I did know the wire hanger memes before memes were like a big thing on the internet. I did know about that. There was a radio talk show, a local radio talk show called The Love Doctors. And they use a line from this movie in like one of their intros or something. It's the line where Christina says, "I am not one of your fans." And so I giggle whenever I hear that. So yes, I did know about this movie, and in like its status and its cultural legacy. I did know about that. So yeah.
That's sad to hear that Faye Dunaway got flack for it. I think she just did her job.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
that is that's awesome as far as the local radio station thing. That's fun.
yeah. What about you? How much of this movie did you know about going into it?
Well, okay, so going into it, like starting it, zilch. I started to watch it, but then I was too sleepy, so I just ended up sleeping. And then I came back at it another day, started it from the beginning again, and I got like 45 minutes in maybe, and then I had to take a shit. So I went on my phone and I looked the movie up on Wikipedia, and just to get some background. And then I realized that it was a biopic. And things became much more strange in my brain about the film.
So the more you learned about it, the weirder it became.
Yeah, and kind of like when I read about Joan Crawford's daughter's actual life on Wikipedia, I just basically was reading the plot summary of the movie, and I was like, oh, well, they're not going to put all of this in the movie, right? Like, and then they just put all of it in the movie.
Yeah.
And I have things to say about it in that regard. Mainly that this movie is too long and long-winded.
Really?
Yes, but I really liked the first half of the movie a lot.
Okay.
It started to lose me once Christina became a teenager in the film. After that, I was kind of like,
they aged her up.
Yeah. After that, I was kind of like, I don't know. I just it lost some of its appeal to me as far as I don't know. It just started to slow down as far as my interest level. I don't know why. Maybe just because there was less one-on-one interaction between Christina and Joan Crawford. So I don't know, maybe, but I just started to feel longer after that, if that makes sense.
Yeah, but it's because she sends her off to a fucking boarding school for giving eyes to the dude she's banging.
Yes. Crazy, insane.
I had a different viewing experience. This might be like my third time watching it. And yeah, it's a 2 hour and 8 minute movie. I apologize. I should have told you that it was.
Yeah, you should have.
Longer. Well, give me some leeway. Okay, I deserve some leeway after I watched On the Silver Globe, which was not your fault, but even so. But anyways, I didn't maybe it's because I watched it already and so I knew, what I was in for. But I didn't have a problem with the pacing. And also, when she ages up, yeah, I have no problem with that either. But that's because, let's see, the actress who played the older, it's Diana Scarwood. That's her name. Yeah. I kind of want to know what else she's done. I'm kind of interested in her as an actress because Faye Dunaway got hit with this, but at the time, she was a big Hollywood actress. But Diana Scarwood, I think that she might be maybe a little bit younger, at least, a little, if not more younger than Faye Dunaway was, and how it affected her career. But she is in a great movie. A movie I really enjoy called What Lies Beneath. Which is a ghost movie with Michelle Pfeiffer and Harrison Ford.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, directed by Robert Zemeckis.
Oh.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. It's a very white wasp. It's a very waspy, middle-aged, middle class, ghost story that I have a lot of affection for. but yeah, she was in that. She was also in a few episodes of Heroes. So that's where I know her mostly from, and apparently she's won an Academy Award for Inside Moves as Best Supporting Actress. And she also won a Primetime Emmy for Truman. So, which has Gary Sinise playing President Harry Truman. So yeah, there's that. I didn't find the pacing to be all that bad. So,
I want to make a note on that though, on the pacing. I think what started to slow me down was that the perspective of the movie shifts halfway through. It shifts from Joan's perspective to Christina's perspective as Christina comes of age.
Yeah.
And I think I just found the character of Joan to be much more interesting.
Okay.
And I was a little less interested in Christina as a character. Not that obviously she wasn't. I mean, this has nothing to do with. I don't think it had anything to do with the acting or anything like that. I think it was just that the character of Joan is such a crazy complex character. And Christina is a little bit more easy to understand, especially because we already have seen her backstory. We're a little bit more able to predict what she's going to do or things like that, you know?
Well, yeah, there's very much the cycle continuing with Christina, wanting to become an actress in her own right, and having to struggle as an actress, having to struggle to be an adult, especially in the shadow of Joan Crawford, and especially with how she's struggled under being parented by Joan Crawford. But I'm okay with that because it's like, I'm okay with that perspective shift because it kind of makes sense to me in a way. Like, we seen, at the beginning of the movie, she is in her middle age, but middle age is old for actresses. And so we still see her like trying to stay relevant, struggling to stay relevant. As she, adopts Christina and then raises her while, dealing with the struggles of a big Hollywood actress, from the 40s to the 70s. But I think it's great that we see that mirror in for how they both mirror each other, how their lives mirror, and even like at different times of their lives too. Like Joan is always struggling. Like there's never a time when she's not struggling. And I think the assumption is that, hey, I only have to struggle in the entertainment industry when I'm beginning. I just need my big break. Once I get my big break, I'll get my chance and then I'll be secure. And this movie shows very clearly, no, you are not. You are never secure in the entertainment industry. The entertainment industry is a very, very fickle bitch, and it will dump you as soon as it's able to, unless you fight to keep it, fight to stay in it. So so it's like the life cycle of an actress, but instead of doing it from like the start to the very finish, it starts in the middle of one and then moves to the beginning of another as her mother's ends. Does that make sense?
It does make sense.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. No, yeah, that makes sense. And I do want to say, I guess it's not even really a critique of the film. I guess I did say that it was too long. But it's more, I wouldn't say that it's a flaw of the film anymore. It's more that I enjoyed it a little less once that shift happened, but it does make sense for the movie and for the story.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Yeah.
Because like the ending tells exactly why this story is being told.
Yeah. No, the ending is so funny and crazy.
Do you want to say it or do you want me to?
You go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, Joan Crawford has died, and so now it's the time for the reading of the will. Christina and Christopher are sitting there in front of the family lawyer, and this is what he reads from their will. It is my intention to make no provision herein for my son Christopher or my daughter Christina for reasons which are well known to them. In other words, they're getting nothing and they know the reason why. Yep. Now they were able to sue, and I think they got like $55,000 from the estate. But yeah, that right there is the reason why Christina Crawford wrote the book Mommie, Dearest, and why it was adapted into a movie. Because Joan Crawford, didn't want to leave them with anything. But this movie shows like how hard she is on children. As I said, to an extremely unhealthy and toxic degree.
Yeah.
So,
have you ever seen the show Hacks, Stephen, or heard of it?
I do not believe I have.
Oh, okay. Well, listeners, if you know of the show Hacks, this is a similar character as the older comedian. Stephen, you might like that show. It's about a old Vegas comedian who begins to start a professional and sort of friendship with a younger comedian. Yeah, so one's about to retire and one's at the beginning of their career. So it's pretty interesting.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyways, Joan Crawford's character in this movie is just like old-timey show business, road worn, and hardened.
Well, yeah. But like that's also like the time that she grew up in. I believe the movie starts in like 1939. So, it's the tail end. Well, it's the tail end of the Great Depression, but they don't know that yet. Like to them, they're still in the Great Depression, and so, she became a young adult during the Great Depression. Combined with that, just with how hard life was, back at that time. Where you had to work, where you had to earn your keep. Yeah, like it's very understandable why she is such a hard woman, especially being a woman. And she raised herself up and she was able to find success to get her out of a worse condition than she would be in otherwise. So like I understand where that hardness comes from, but number one, it still doesn't excuse it, and even then, like I think she's hard even for those times.
Yeah. Well, I agree in the fact of she's appropriately hard for the times in some ways. And she has to be hard to survive. And I think that's a theme of the movie for sure. Yeah, I find her character so interesting. And not in a bad way necessarily. I mean, obviously, eventually she gets worse and worse, as you kind of said, as her mental illness and her her brain gets the worse of her as she goes on.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, in the beginning of the film, she's optimistic. She genuinely wants a child. And she says she wants to have a child to give her all the things that she never had.
Yeah, you're right.
And it's
You're absolutely right.
it doesn't seem like it doesn't seem like she's disingenuous. She genuinely seems like she
Mm-hmm.
wants to be a mother and she wants a child. Maybe not for the right reasons always.
Mm-hmm.
But it seems like she wants to care for a child. And as it
Yeah.
progresses,
Yeah.
I think she just sees herself and her daughter way too much, and she just projects so much onto her, which is the story of a lot of real life relationships between mothers and daughters
Yes.
and parents in general, and
Yeah,
kids.
fathers and sons as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a tale as old as time. Yeah. Yeah, I think like she's like, yeah, I wanna have a baby in the same way that people are like, I want to have a puppy. Like they have the fantasy of having a puppy or the fantasy of having a baby, but then, reality ensues.
Yeah.
There's actually a great episode of Star Trek Voyager that kind of deals with this. I don't know the exact episode now, and I won't look it up. But our listeners can look it up if they want to watch it. But what it is the holographic doctor. He makes like a hologram scenario of having a family because he's like, yeah, I want to see how well I would do as a husband and a dad. But like how he writes the program, it's very like 1950s Leave It to Beaver, Father Knows Best kind of simulation where like everybody in the family always agrees with him and is always good tempered, and that's just not reality. So it's either Tom Paris or Balana who goes in there and like adjusts the program to make to have that more character conflict where things like go wrong because in a relationship they do and you have to learn how to deal with that. Family members have personalities that are independent of your own and it's important to recognize and understand and acknowledge that. So yeah, that's a great episode of Voyager. One of the few that I actually like that deals kind of with what you were talking about, Dan.
I don't think I've seen Voyager before, but that sounds like a fun episode.
Yeah. It's one of the few really great written episodes that the show has. So yeah.
How do you?
And we learn.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh well, we learn like just how hard. Like we start to see the hardness in Joan Crawford. When I believe it's hold on. I believe it's it's a birthday party. Joan Crawford like has this like blowout birthday party for Christina, who's a young child. And like there's a merry-go-round. And like there's like all these other things. And she has all these children there to have fun at the birthday party too. And there is a staff photographer from the studios, and they're like taking all these staged photos for the benefit of the studio. And then it's time for Christina to open up her gifts, and so she opens them all. And one of them is a doll. And she's like, yes, I love this doll the best. And then Joan says, well, then that's the one you keep. And all the others you can give away to the orphanage.
Yeah. Yeah. What I found really fascinating about that scene was her interaction with the photographer, because the photographer is very like opportunistic and sort of like exploitative.
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure.
And she realizes that she has to, as an actor, as a personality in Hollywood at the time, she has to perform in a certain way and she has to sell herself in a certain way. But she also wants to really have a celebration for her kid and have her kid have a good time. And the moment I remember of that is, she's kind of like riding the line as far as choosing the photographer's wishes over the kid's wishes. Well, in the beginning, she's choosing her kid, Christina's wishes over the photographer. She's kind of doing what's best for her. And then she notices a stain, or Christina might even notice the stain. But there's a stain on Christina's dress, and Joan Crawford is like, "Oh well, we'll take the photos now, and then we'll get you cleaned up later, and we don't worry about it." But then the photographer's like, well, Miss Crawford, it actually might show up in the photos, so you should just get her changed now. And you just like, there's like a moment where she's looking at the photographer and the photographer's looking at her, and she just has to make up her mind to have her daughter be in the spotlight and to have her daughter be a representation of her. And so she kind of steels herself there and hardens herself, and says, "Yeah, go change yourself and go clean up, so we can have you looking perfect for these photos." And I think that kind of set the tone for the rest of their interactions as a mother and daughter. I thought that was beautifully done.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you're very astute for noticing that. For sure. Yeah.
Shucks. One thing I kind of wanted to talk about, just I love the opening. The opening introduction is just like a bunch of shots. It's like her morning routine.
Yeah.
And it reminded me of a Columbo episode, or like all Columbo episodes, in the fact that like in the beginning of every episode, it's like very procedural, very like routine as the murder is being set up and then committed. And it's just like a very matter of fact, like way of showing this character's life in their environment. And then, something intervenes and, kills them. But it's just like something about the way that it was shot and put together reminded me of that.
Yeah. Yeah, you see how she starts her day, and like that's classic screenwriting, which is you show the ordinary world. So this is the ordinary world for Joan Crawford. She wakes up, she has like elastic bands around her face, and I guess they're like to keep her skin tight, and I suppose that's why she wears them. And she has this fancy coffee maker in her bathroom, but her bathroom is like a huge bathroom. Like it's a room. It's like the size of a bedroom itself. The bathroom is the size of a bedroom. And she starts to brew the coffee, and then she pulls out like this bowl of ice that's already up under the sink. And then she pours oil in it, and then she like scrubs her hands and scrubs her face, and then she like puts the ice with the oil against her face, typical beauty routine that women do to try to stay looking, young and beautiful. And then from there she gets dressed, and it's still dark, by the way. The sun has not risen at this point. And she goes out to her car, and as she's driving the car, she's reading the script that she's gotten, which is The Ice Follies of 1939. Which is great from a screenwriting point, because number one, it tells you the date. It's 1939. This is when it's happening. And it also tells you that she's kind of falling in her career, because who has heard in this day and age of Ice Follies of 1939? It's a nothing burger movie. Like nobody will remember it, but she's reading it because she's got the part, and it's in like this really fancy binder that has its own like leather bookmark, like with it. So it's very fancy. And then after she reads it, and when she's done reading it, she's signing, she's autographing pictures. Because everything she does, she knows it's because of the fans. Where she's gotten is because of her fans. So she, tries to give her fans what she thinks fans expects of her. And that is another theme all throughout this movie.
Mm. Yeah.
So, yeah. That
one thing
that opening is great.
I want to add to your picture of her morning routine is that she scrubs her nails and she cleans her arms and her face, and then she gets into her shower, and her shower has like 3 shower heads.
Yeah.
But it's very interesting. She washes half of her body before she gets into the shower. It's really weird.
Yeah. Well, that I'm not a woman, but my guess is like that is special stuff that she does that you don't want to like waste or do in the shower, or maybe like she's just washing those particular parts, like where the skin shows, and then she'll wash everything else. Maybe that's what's going on. But it's also great because a little bit later in the movie, we see why those 3 shower heads are so useful. When her lover Greg goes into the shower with her, and so they can both be under the stream of water instead of taking turns like us mere mortals have to do when showering together as a couple. Yeah.
It's pretty funny, but it's
Mm-hmm.
also just a very interesting picture. Also, we don't get to see her face for that whole intro really until I think until she gets out of the car and goes into the studio.
Yeah.
Which is also interesting.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So we mentioned about how Christina has to she can only keep her doll and she has to give everything else away. Well, then that's when her uncle Greg, who is Joan's current lover, he comes in and he wants to give Christina this beautiful bracelet. But she's like, oh no, I can't. I can only have the doll or the bracelet. Mommy won't let me keep both. And then Greg says, well, then I won't give this to you. I'll keep it, but you can have it anytime you want to. And then that's when Joan lets her keep both the bracelet and the doll. And that's when we see like her being as hard on Christina is not normal, and like the men in her life, in Joan's life, understand that that's not normal. And we get a sense that even other people at the time will think that she's being too hard on her.
Yeah. And it's very interesting, that relationship with her. Oh, also her Uncle Greg is not really her biological uncle. It's just like Joan has Christina call him uncle. But yeah, it's not an actual uncle thing.
Yeah, it's a weird I would say it's a weird boomer thing, but I guess the boomers got it from The Greatest Generation. where it's that thing where they're not a biological family member, but because he is banging her, they're not married. So, but it's a child to an adult, and so children need to use honorifics, like but like Mr. But like Mr. is too formal for Greg's relationship. So Joan has her call him Uncle Greg because he's not yet her stepdad.
Yeah.
Or at least not formally.
But the relationship between those two characters is pretty interesting. Because
go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Oh, well, I was going to say, because it's echoed later with Al Steele when Joan marries Al Steele, who is, I believe, like the president or the CEO of Pepsi-Cola at this point. This is when Christina is a young adult. She's having trouble making ends meet. She asks Joan for money, and Joan is like, no. Nobody gave me money when I was young. I know you'll find a way. And then that's when Al Steele, even though like he's building an apartment or reconstructing it because Joan is making him do it, and like he's going broke doing it, he hands Christina some money on the sly, just out of like fatherly compassion, even though he is her stepfather at this point, and they just met too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they met after Joan and Alfred married, because Christina Joan brings Christina home, and she's like, well, and Alfred is swimming in a pool, and Christina's like, well, what do I call him? And Joan says, you'd call him whatever you would call your father. And so she walks up to him and she goes, hi, Daddy.
Yeah, she says, hi, Daddy, nice to meet you.
Yes. Yes.
Which is insane. She shakes his hand.
Yeah. But my point is that the men in Joan's lives are, they show a lot of compassion for Christina, perhaps more so than Joan does.
Yeah. Well, also it's easier, a little easier for them because, well, also Joan, she has such baggage, and there's a scene where she and Greg are walking on the beach together, talking, and Greg is asking her about having a child, and basically the realistics of it, like you're not going to be approved by an adoption agency because you've been divorced, things like that, and you're just one person. There's no father in the picture. And she's like, well, first of all, she's like, I could be a mother and a father, which I thought was pretty funny.
Yeah.
But I was like, the gays must love that line in this movie. I just thought that was fun. But then she goes on to talk about her relationship with her mother and how her mother was, awful to her. I don't remember the exact lines, but basically she had a lot of trauma from her mother. And that was evident in that moment. And you can kind of tell that is what shapes her whole relationship with Christina, her daughter.
One of the lines that I wrote down in my notes, and I'm fairly certain it's from that scene. She says, "Hard times is good for people."
Yeah. Which is a sort of old-fashioned sentiment.
Yes.
But you hear it today. You hear what is it? Easy times make soft men, and hard times make strong men, or whatever. Which
but I don't agree with. Like, if you're making,
I don't agree with it either.
If you're making if you're making the experience of living hard for people just to try to make them have good character or something, you're a fucking asshole. Like there's no reason to make hard times for people, you know, especially like when hardness trickles down to people who don't deserve it, you know, to people who need like more empathy, more caring, you know, more care. That's just bullshit. Especially in this age of technological wonders where we can give so much to so many people, but we don't, because of profit margins.
Yeah, I mean,
So,
there's probably some truth to, you know, living through trauma will prepare you for trauma, but it also
yeah,
fucks you up and will sometimes get to you in the long run, and
yeah,
it will hinder you later on. Like you know, you might be able to survive World War II, but all those traumas might cause you to be a little bit more of an alcoholic and probably beat your family more often, type thing.
yeah,
So there is a part of it that's, you know, sort of true as far as humans adapt to hardship, and they, you know, have to find ways to survive, and that is a strength, but it also is a weakness. So yeah, I agree with what you're saying.
mm-hmm.
Just because, like,
Oh, thank you.
this movie is an example of that, because Joan is able to hold on to a career and hold on to money, and you know, she's able to keep herself afloat and wealthy. However, she has to do it by clawing and fighting, and she does it while sabotaging all her relationships.
Yeah, and I think something that we should mention is like we've been focusing on Joan, and like how, you know, she has been like, you know, perpetuating this trauma onto Christina. But it needs to be understood that one of the reasons why is because of American society at that time, and especially the entertainment industry, the Hollywood studios, are so traumatic to women, especially as they age. And so, you know, American society bears a lot of the fault. The culture of American film studios, they deserve a shitload of it too.
Absolutely. And I mean, it's that part of, like, when the photographer is like, you know, you need to worry about her appearance. Um it's I mean, it's just because it's such a, you know, men controlled everything at that point in time,
Mm-hmm.
and, you know, mainly still do, which is not, I'm saying, like, a good thing, obviously, but the expectations of the studios
Mm-hmm.
and of the men in her life, while positive towards Christina sometimes, were also
Mm-hmm.
so demanding, um, that it pushed more strain onto Joan herself, and
Yeah.
by, you know, proxy, Joan's relationship with Christina. Um,
Yeah.
if that makes sense. I worded it terribly.
No, 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 no. You make perfect sense. Like, yeah, yeah, the societal strains, the way that society strains women strained Joan, and that caused her to strain Christina.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, and you are absolutely right. In fact, like that's how Greg winds up leaving Joan. Um because Greg and Joan, they go to have dinner at this real fancy Hollywood restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
The car stops in front. They come out. There are a whole bunch of fans. So Joan has to, like sign autographs and say hello because she needs fans to stay fans and keep coming to pay to see her movies. Greg, he doesn't like that. So he goes into the restaurant. Finally, Joan comes in and the waiter takes them to their booth, but she sees that Greg is sitting with LB Mayer, the head of Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer Studios, talking with two bankers. So she goes over to Greg. LB Mayer introduces the bankers to Joan. One of the bankers has I think it's like a movie poster for her to sign for her daughter. And she signs it because she needs to help out the studio. She needs to stay relevant to the studio, and being nice to the bankers means the bankers will be nice to the studio, which means the studio will be nice to her. And then they get done with their schmoozing, and Joan wants to eat dinner alone with Greg, but LB is like, no, you stay here. You stay here. I insist. Have dinner with us. And Joan is absolutely embarrassed by it. And when they get home, she has a fight with Greg over it. She was like, I'm not, some slut, Yeah. She's like, I'm not some slut, that LB thinks that he can show off and be pawed at, for all of his investors. And she blames Greg for it because she's like, hey, you could have stayed with me and then brought me into the restaurant. And he's like, yeah, but your fans are there for you. They're not there for me. And then they have a fight. And another thing, Greg, holy shit, this burn. He tells Joan is drinking, and that's like another factor in this is like the alcohol. And Greg asks, how many drinks is that? When you were a kid, it made you look sexy. Now it just makes you look drunk.
Yeah.
So he fucking hit her where it hurt.
Oh yeah.
And then he tells her another, exchange that I wrote down in my notes is, truth is you're getting old. And then she says, you're nothing but a rotten, crooked lawyer. And it's funny because the fight they have, it gets intense. It's an intense fight. And Greg eventually it's a soap opera fight. It's, very melodramatic. And so Greg grabs her and is shaking her and just yelling at her. And it reminded me of that Chris Rock bit from the 90s where he's like, I won't hit a woman, but I'll sure as hell shake a woman.
Yeah, it was an extremely violent shaking.
Yeah. Yeah. And then what happens is, Joan tries to apologize. She tries to say, I'm sorry. But Greg is like, I don't know if you're being genuine or if you're just acting right now. I can't tell the difference. And he says, get up, there's no camera in here. And then, he starts to leave and she asks, where are you going? He says, where I belong, out of here. And then he says, I'll only speak well of you. And the reason why is because, he knows reputation is so important in the entertainment industry. And so if he tells anybody what he thinks is the truth of Joan, she won't get work. And, as much as, even though they may break up, he doesn't want that for her. And then she keeps, telling him, no, stay here. And the line he says as he leaves is, if you're acting, you're wasting your time. If you're not, you're wasting mine. And then cut to the next day where Joan and her maid are cutting Greg out of all the photos she has.
Yep.
And then Christina and Christopher, they see a photo on the mantle, and Greg's face is cut out of it, and Christina says, if she doesn't like you, she can make you disappear.
Yeah. Crazy, insane.
Yeah.
But in that fight with her and Greg, she says also, you're the grease that makes this town run. You've got your hand in every cover up. And that's when he blows up about that also. But I also think it's interesting that she's trying to seduce him in the end. She's like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean it. And then she's like, she gets on the bed seductively, which I think is also interesting because it's just like, that's how she's had to survive is she's had to use all of the tools in her toolbox. And one of them is seduction and, her body, in order to get where she's gotten. Which is, tragic because she is obviously talented. She shouldn't need those things, but it's part of the times. But in that moment, it obviously didn't work. I just thought that was interesting too.
Yeah. That whole environment is an extremely toxic environment from the get-go, like just all the way up and down, unfortunately. And yeah. Yeah, it's definitely a place where it's hard to maintain your integrity when so much of the industry is not, as the stories seem to confirm. So
yeah.
And then we get an interesting thing where Christina is like with her dolls, and she's telling the dolls how they're bad and spoiled, the same way Joan tells Christina that she's bad for not listening to her and she's spoiled for living in a mansion. And Joan sees this, and so the next day Christina gets out of the pool and goes to her room, and she sees that all of her dolls are gone. And so she runs up to her mother. She's like, Mommy, somebody stole my dolls. And then she said, she's like, well, they were spoiled and thoughtless, and they won't bother you anymore now. And so that's when we see like how Joan is imprinting herself on Christina. Christina is like being molded by Joan, but even though she is, Joan punishes her for it. Joan is punishing Christina for being exactly like her.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's so crazy.
Which is the theme of the movie.
Yeah.
Right there.
It's jealousy. Yeah. It's it's jealousy and also hatred of self, all wrapped up in one.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned the jealousy. We skipped over this part, but when she's still with Greg, Christina is swimming laps in the pool, and Joan is there. And Christina's like, I'm tired, Mommy. And she's like, quitter. You don't need to quit. Keep swimming. So she swims. And so Joan and Greg talk. And when they're done talking, Greg starts to leave the pool area. And she's like, come on. Joan says to Christina, come on, I'll race you. And so they race. They race in the pool, and of course, Joan wins. And then Joan is like, "Oh, you want to race again? I'll give you an even bigger head start." And Christina's like, "No, it's not fair." And then Joan says a truth that has excused a lot of inexcusable bullshit, which is nobody ever said life is fair. I'm bigger and faster and will always beat you. Joan says that to Christina, and Christina's response is typical of a child. Then I'll never play with you again. And Joan goes, "Don't you ever use that tone with me?" And then she forces her into her room, and so she's competing with an absolute child and feeling proud of herself for it.
Yep. It's insane.
Yeah. And Greg sees it, like he sees it in the distance. So yeah, they absolutely show the jealousy and the competing that Joan is doing with Christina. And then like the next major scene we have, and I think it's a great scene. I think it's one of the best scenes in the movie. Is when she meets with LB Mayer. And he has a conversation with her where he wants to let her go from her contract. And it's a rough conversation if you're on the receiving end of it. It can also be a rough conversation if you're on the giving end. Not as much, but still rough. Because he tells Joan that he wants her to leave. They'll pay out her contract, but she can leave. And then she says, "It's the scripts, LB. Bad scripts and bad directors." And his response is, "Bad for you, good for others." And he tries to soothe her by saying, "Don't worry, you'll still get work. Everybody in town will think they're smarter than LB Mayer. I'm sure you'll get a hit with another studio, and everyone will show me that I'm wrong." And then she says, "Will you be sorry then?" And his response is, "I'm sorry now." So I think that like shows a very human side of LB Mayer and what it's like to be the head of a studio, and how hard it can be when you've developed personal relationships with actors, but for business reasons, you have to let them go. But then what happens is Joan is like, "Okay, well, I will get my maid and we will pack up the things in my bungalow. I have a lot of years left there." And he says, "Don't worry about any of that. It's already been packed."
Yeah, brutal.
Very brutal. And then that night, we see how she reacts, which is she has like hedge clippers, and she's fucking cutting every rose bush in her garden. and she gets her maid to wake up both Christina and Christopher, little children asleep in their beds, to get up and help her with this. And there's a point where she says, "Christina, get me the axe."
Oh man.
Yeah. Which is like the first really instance of like redhead crazy. Redhead level crazy we see from Joan.
I love that. Well, first of all, the maid has to unstrap her son Christopher from his bed because he's strapped down.
Yeah.
And then also I love that in the time since her meeting with the head of MGM and the time that she's in the rose garden chopping all the roses, she has changed into a evening, or not an evening gown, a party gown, like an elaborate party gown, in order to cut the
a
roses.
very glamorous dress. Yeah, very glamorous dress. Yeah.
So I just thought that was I starred that because I was like, that's so campy and hilarious that she changes into a dress in order to cut the flowers.
Yes. Well, she looks good, goddammit, and it's a mistake that she got fired. And LB Mayer will rue the day just like these rose bushes will. These rose bushes will rue the day LB Mayer fired Joan Crawford.
I also think
that's the way it's going to be, goddammit.
Yeah. The nanny or the maid is the nanny. The nanny is such an interesting character in this film, and someone who is, guilty by association in a way. Well, not by association, but a sort of what is it when you're like allowing someone enabler. She's an enabler.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
She's like an accomplice, and there, if I was, a maid, or a nanny, I mean, obviously I would not. I'd be like, if she's having a mental breakdown, I'm not gonna wake up the kids to go witness this mental breakdown. I'm gonna like lock the kids in their room, or like leave the kids in their room, and try and calm her down. And this nanny just keeps like fucking pouring gas on the fire. It's crazy.
Well, she doesn't pour gas on the fire. What she does is hand Joan the gas can when she demands it. That's what she does, like, in my opinion. Because she's not going to step up to Joan. I mean, she's an employee of Joan, and then like if she gets on it, there's like a trickle down effect, where I believe her name is Ada. Ada has to comply with Joan in the same way that Joan has to comply with the movie studios. So there's very much, and when Joan has a bad time with the studio, Ada then has a bad time with Joan. So there's very much a trickle down effect of exploitation going on here. And we see that especially in a scene that comes up next, which is Joan Crawford is rehearsing lines with Ada. And as they go through the lines, Joan slaps her in the face, just like her character is called to do, but they're just rehearsing. And like she full contact hits with her face. And then Ada and Christina is there to see it. And that night, Ada is putting them to bed, and she's like, she always has to be perfect. It's, in fact, this time it's even more important. They're making her take a screen test. Do you know what that is? Do you know how shameful that is to your mother to do? So yeah, like Ada is an enabler, as you say, but she's also a victim. But she's also an adult, but she's also a woman. So she's in this place. So like she is having just a hard time of it as all the other women in this field, in this film are. So
yeah. She also comes across as very lesbian, but that could just be the queer read.
No, well, I mean, they no, that's fair. It could be coded. Although, the balance of power thing might complicate that a little bit.
That's fair too.
Yeah. Yeah. Before we go, we'd like to give a shout out to the bestest friends of the show on our Patreon. Thank you, Brian, for your support of the show. If you'd like to be one of our bestest friends of the show, then check out our Patreon page at www.patreon.com/yourmoviemymoviepodcast. And thanks for listening. Yeah. Unfortunately, we have to wrap this episode up now. We can't constantly be going on and on and on about it and going into it in the detail that we would like for our listeners, all dozen of you. And like everything we've said about this movie so far, it's just those themes are just repeated over and over again. I think the only thing that we haven't talked about is Christina's defiance against Joan, like when she stands up to Joan. We get that in the steak part where Christina refuses to eat raw meat. But that's it. So yeah, Daniel, any last thoughts?
Well, there's like I feel like we just scratched the about halfway mark of this movie. I feel like there's so much more to talk about.
Oh no, we didn't even get to the wire hangers part. We didn't even get to like why this movie is memed, But yeah. I think that scene also speaks for itself. Like, what new things could we say about it? It's just something that has to be experienced.
Yeah.
So,
one thing I do want to say is that it's interesting how continuously Christina tries to win her mother's love, even after so many times of betrayal. And, in the end, one of the endings, the ending shot is, after she's learned that her mother has scorned her again and left her out of the will, and in her last act of cruelty, Christina is like, well, I know how I'm going to respond, and how I'll get back at her and how I'll win. And she looks like directly into the camera as in like, I'm going to write a fucking novelization of all the shit that she did, and I'm going to make bank off of it by ruining her reputation because she was shitty.
Yeah. Well, Christopher says, these are what the actual lines are. Christopher says, as usual, she has the last word. And then Christina looks over at him with a smirk and asks, does she? And, the fact that the movie is made shows that Joan Crawford has not. But, it also shows like the power that Joan Crawford would have, that it's not until she's dead that Christina feels like she's able to come out and like say what her truth is.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. And also she says, does she? And then the credits start rolling over her looking into the camera, and then like it fades to black, but the credits are rolling as she is looking. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, well, that's our discussion on Mommie, Dearest. Trust me, we would just be repeating the same things over and over and over about the different scenes anyway. It's a camp it's a camp icon. I highly suggest you guys seek out the Broy Deschanel and or Be Kind Rewind videos concerning Joan Crawford and Mommie, Dearest, and watch it for yourself, especially if you feel the need to for this Thanksgiving month. Maybe it could help prepare you for any family drama that may happen with the holiday dinners with them. Who knows?
Absolutely.
All right, guys.
Thing.
Bye.
Wait, one more thing, Steve.
Yeah.
Don't fuck with me. Okay.
Wire hangers. Wait. She can't. My character is 28 years old. Watch it to find out, guys. Bye.
Hey, you